For those who seek true power, the greatest mistake is to be ruled by emotions. The man who allows himself to be carried by love, by anger, by pity, or by hatred is not a ruler of his fate, but a slave to circumstance. The one who wishes to dominate the world must learn to dominate himself first. You are not born powerful. You become powerful by discipline, by training, by control. Control does not begin with armies or subjects. It begins with your own heart and mind. To feel nothing is not to be lifeless. It is to be free from chains that bind weaker men. Imagine a ruler who cries with his people, who suffers with them, who indulges in pity. He will win temporary love but lose permanent respect. Love is fickle. It vanishes with the first storm. Respect, however, is carved by strength, by steadiness, by the refusal to bend when others collapse. When you feel nothing, you stand unshaken by flattery and untouched by insult. When you master indifference, no enemy can wound you, no friend can manipulate you, no woman can control you. Most men live in reaction. They are provoked, they are lured, they are enraged, and in their rage they destroy themselves. The one who feels nothing waits. He watches. He studies. He acts only when the moment guarantees victory. Think of the hunter who sits silently in the forest, unmoved by hunger, by cold, by the noise of the prey. The fool rushes forward, the hunter waits. The one who feels nothing does not rush to act. He strikes only when the strike is final. Control is the art of patience. You cannot control armies if you cannot control your tongue. You cannot rule subjects if you cannot rule your impulses. A prince must be like iron, cold, unbending, yet sharp enough to cut when required. To be feared is to be remembered. To be loved is to be forgotten as soon as love fades. The ruler who controls everything does not seek admiration, he seeks inevitability. His subjects obey not because they adore him, but because they see no other choice. Thus, when you feel nothing, betrayal no longer surprises you. You expect it. You anticipate it. You are never shocked by treachery because you know men are driven by their own gain. By removing expectation, you remove disappointment. By mastering detachment, you master foresight. A ruler who cannot detach himself from personal affections is doomed. The state demands loyalty to itself, not loyalty to emotion. There will be times when cruelty is more merciful than kindness. To hesitate out of pity is to let rot spread. A swift, cold decision saves more than it harms. The hand that trembles at punishment is a hand unworthy of power. To control everything, you must be willing to do what others refuse. You must wield fear like a sculptor wields his chisel, shaping men's behavior not through gentle pleas, but through unshakable authority. Do not confuse feeling nothing with being blind. You see everything. You hear everything. You read the desires, the fears, the weaknesses of men, but you do not absorb them. Their fire does not burn you. Their poison does not reach your blood. You remain outside of them, studying them like insects under glass. From this detachment comes advantage. From advantage comes control. The ruler who feels nothing cannot be seduced by flattery, cannot be provoked by insult, cannot be weakened by affection. He can walk through betrayal without breaking stride. He can abandon alliances when they no longer serve him. He can silence voices of dissent without the noise of guilt. He can command respect because his authority is not diluted by sentiment. The masses will always be moved by emotion. They will love, they will hate, they will rage, they will weep. You cannot expect them to be rational. Therefore, you must never join them in their frenzy. You must stand above them, calm, cold, and absolute. Let them burn themselves out in chaos, and when the fire fades, you step forward with order. They will kneel to you because you are the only one untouched by their storms. Discipline yourself to endure hunger without complaint, to suffer insult without reply, to lose comfort without breaking. Train your mind to see every setback as a move in the game, not as a wound to your pride. The one who feels nothing can endure longer than anyone else. Endurance itself becomes power. The last man standing rules, not because he was the strongest in one battle, but because he survived every battle. When you feel nothing, every decision becomes clear. You are not clouded by sympathy, not delayed by hesitation, not corrupted by vanity. You can sacrifice one man to save 1,000. You can abandon one city to conquer a nation. You can remove a loyal servant if he grows too powerful. Your vision is never blurred by attachment. This is not cruelty for its own sake. It is survival, it is order, it is rule. Understand that people will call you ruthless. They will whisper that you are heartless. They will say you lack humanity. Let them speak. The opinions of the weak have no weight in the scales of power. A ruler does not beg to be understood. He commands to be obeyed. Their voices rise and fall like the wind, but your rule remains like the mountain. To control everything, begin with silence. Speak less than you think. Show less than you feel. Promise less than you intend. The man who reveals his heart is already conquered. The man who hides his heart is feared because no one knows where his strike will land. Mystery is power. Distance is power. Detachment is power. You must teach yourself to watch others suffer without shaking. Not because you are cruel, but because pity is the enemy of clarity. If a soldier must be punished, punish him. If a traitor must be executed, execute him. If a friend becomes a threat, remove him. Do not hesitate. Do not tremble. Mercy, when misplaced, is the seed of destruction. The game of power is not for the tender-hearted. It is for the cold, the disciplined, the detached. Every ruler who drowned in his own emotions was destroyed by them. Every man who begged for love was abandoned. Every prince who trusted blindly was betrayed. The survivors, the masters, the legends, they felt nothing. They controlled everything. This path is not easy. It demands that you kill the weaker self within you. It demands that you silence your desires, bury your fears, and burn your illusions. It demands that you become an actor wearing emotions as masks when needed, but never letting the mask become your face. Smile when you must, rage when it benefits you, but return always to the stillness of control. That a ruler's heart must be a fortress guarded by walls no one can breach. To feel nothing is to let no enemy inside those walls. To control everything is to stand at the highest tower, surveying the field, directing the game. Others fight in the mud. You command from above. If you can master yourself, nothing in the world can master you. If you can feel nothing, no loss can destroy you, no betrayal can wound you, no love can enslave you. If you can control everything, you do not merely live in history, you write it. So discipline yourself, harden yourself, cut away the weakness of pity, of rage, of affection. Build within yourself the cold iron of control. Let others drown in emotions. You will breathe in clarity. Let others chase love. You will command obedience. Let others beg for peace. You will decide when peace comes. Feel nothing. Control everything. That is the path to true power. That is the way of survival. That is the destiny of the one who refuses to bow to his own heart. The greatest illusion of men is that emotions make them human. They cling to the idea that to love is noble, to forgive is divine, to cry is cleansing. They mistake weakness for virtue, forgetting that the world has no patience for fragility. The earth does not care if you weep. The storm does not pity the sailor. The enemy does not stop his advance because you are kind. Reality is indifferent, and if you are to master reality, you too must become indifferent. Understand this. To feel nothing does not mean you are stone. It means you are deliberate. You choose when to smile, when to frown, when to raise your voice, when to stay silent. You deploy emotion like a general deploys soldiers, strategically, with purpose, never with waste. Weak men are puppets, pulled by the strings of their moods. Powerful men are the puppeteers, pulling the strings of others' hearts while their own remain untouchable. You must learn the art of masks. A mask of kindness when you need loyalty. A mask of anger when you need obedience. A mask of calm when the world expects panic. But never forget, the mask is not your face. The moment you believe your own performance, you fall into the trap. A ruler wears masks, but he never confuses the mask with the man beneath. Look at history. How many kings lost their thrones because they loved too deeply? How many generals lost their armies because they trusted too easily? How many leaders were destroyed because their pride was wounded by insult? Their graves are lessons, their ruins are warnings. Those who ruled with passion ruled briefly. Those who ruled with calculation ruled for generations. Consider betrayal. It is not a question of if, but when. Every ally will eventually weigh loyalty against profit. Every friend will someday measure affection against ambition. Every servant will one day consider treachery. To the man who feels deeply, betrayal is a wound that bleeds. To the man who feels nothing, betrayal is an expected move on the board. He responds not with shock, not with despair, but with swift correction. This is why fear is a stronger weapon than love. Love is given freely. Fear must be earned. Love fades. Fear endures. Love bends when temptation appears. Fear resists because it calculates the price of disobedience. If you wish to control everything, you must never rely on the soft grip of affection. Build your rule on the iron grip of necessity. Fear alone is not enough. Fear without control creates chaos. Men who fear you may also hate you, and hatred can spark rebellion. Control is the art of balancing fear with inevitability. Men obey not simply because they fear punishment, but because they cannot imagine another path. When you control resources, when you control knowledge, when you control opportunity, their choices vanish. They obey you because you are the air they breathe. Train yourself daily to strip away sentiment. If your soldier fails, do not excuse him because he is loyal. Replace him with one who is capable. If your advisor hesitates, do not keep him because he is trusted. Find one who is decisive. The state is not a family. The throne is not a friendship. The crown sits only on the head of one who knows how to cut ties without trembling. You must also master the art of silence. Words reveal more than they conceal. The weak man speaks to relieve his emotions. The powerful man speaks only to shape the emotions of others. If you feel nothing, you do not need to confess, to explain, to justify. You need only to declare. Your silence itself becomes a weapon. In silence, others imagine what you might be thinking. In silence, they fear what you may do. And fear of the unknown is stronger than fear of the visible. Do not confuse detachment with inactivity. To feel nothing does not mean to do nothing. It means you act from reason, not from impulse. You punish not because you are angry, but because punishment is necessary. You reward not because you are moved, but because reward strengthens your rule. Every gesture becomes calculated, every decision deliberate. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is accidental. The man who feels nothing becomes eternal because he never exhausts himself in battles that do not matter. He does not fight every insult. He does not chase every distraction. He does not waste energy on proving himself. He saves his strength for decisive blows. And when he strikes, the world remembers. Do not fear being called ruthless. The lamb will always call the wolf ruthless. Growl. The weak will always call the strong cold. Let them speak. Their words are air, but your power is stone. What they call cruelty is often nothing more than clarity. What they call heartlessness is the refusal to drown in illusion. But power is not maintained by warmth. It is maintained by control. And control is nothing more than the consistent application of discipline. Discipline of your appetites. Discipline of your words. Discipline of your heart. He who cannot govern himself cannot govern others. Remember this always. To feel nothing is not emptiness. It is mastery. To control everything is not tyranny. It is order. Together they create the unshakable ruler, the one who endures while others collapse. So let the world rage. Let them love. Let them hate. Let them weep. Let them beg. You remain above them, detached, silent, inevitable. You feel nothing. You control everything. And in that stillness, in that cold clarity, you become what every ruler secretly envies and every enemy secretly fears. Unbreakable. Power is not seized once. It is seized again and again, every day, every hour, every moment. The ruler who relaxes, who indulges, who lets his heart soften, loses control piece by piece until nothing remains. Do not think of power as a throne you sit upon. Think of it as a sword you must keep sharp. The instant you stop sharpening, rust begins. Rust is the weakness of emotion. Rust is the decay of sentiment. Rust is the softness of pity. To feel nothing is to polish the blade every day. To control everything is to strike before rust ever appears. There will be moments when life tempts you with ease. Comfort, pleasure, companionship. These are traps. Comfort dulls vigilance. Pleasure weakens discipline. Companionship invites betrayal. The ruler who clings to such things becomes predictable. And predictability is the first crack in the armor of power. You must remain unreadable, untouchable, unreachable. Men should never know if you are happy, never know if you are sorrowful, never know if you are alone. Mystery feeds fear, and fear feeds obedience. Think of the lion. He does not explain himself. He does not apologize for devouring. He does not comfort the prey before the strike. He acts and his act defines him. Men respect such clarity. They respect the inevitability of power. But unlike the lion, you have reason, strategy, calculation. The lion may feel hunger, but you must rule beyond hunger. You must rule beyond impulse. You must command not only bodies but minds, not only the present moment but the future itself. What then is the greatest weapon of the ruler? It is not the sword, though the sword is necessary. It is not wealth, though wealth is useful. It is not armies, though armies are vital. The greatest weapon is the cold mind. The mind that feels nothing cannot be deceived by beauty, cannot be softened by tears, cannot be trapped by anger. The mind that feels nothing is a fortress, and a fortress that cannot be breached is a fortress that rules forever. Let us speak of loyalty. Many rulers dream of loyal subjects, loyal allies, loyal servants, but loyalty is a fragile illusion. It exists only while it serves interest. The soldier is loyal until a greater payment is offered. The ally is loyal until a better alliance appears. The servant is loyal until ambition outweighs gratitude. To feel nothing is to see loyalty for what it truly is: temporary, conditional, expendable. You use loyalty when it benefits you, but you never build your power upon it. You build your power upon fear, necessity, and control. The wise ruler does not mourn the loss of loyalty. He expects it. He calculates it. He prepares for it. When betrayal comes, he acts without hesitation. A traitor must not only be punished, he must be erased so thoroughly that betrayal itself becomes unthinkable. Let the punishment be swift, let it be absolute, and let it serve as a lesson that echoes louder than any promise of love. Now consider mercy. Mercy is praised by poets, adored by priests, worshipped by the weak. But mercy without control is poison. It spreads expectation. It teaches subjects that disobedience carries no cost. It teaches enemies that weakness can be exploited. To be merciful only when it strengthens control. That is true wisdom. Mercy should never be a gift of the heart. It must always be a tool of strategy. There is also the question of truth. Men say honesty is virtue, but honesty is often nothing more than foolishness dressed as morality. The ruler who speaks all he knows becomes a ruler without secrets, and a ruler without secrets is a ruler without power. Speak truth only when it advances your cause. Lie when lies strengthen your rule, and when silence serves better than either truth or lies, remain silent. The tongue of the ruler is not bound to honesty, it is bound to victory. Discipline is the core of control. Without discipline, you are a slave to appetite. Without discipline, you are a servant to fear. Without discipline, you are a prisoner of love. Every morning you must conquer yourself anew. Conquer your desire for comfort. Conquer your thirst for approval. Conquer your longing for affection. For each of these is a chain, and each chain drags rulers to the same grave as beggars. The man who feels nothing breaks every chain. The man who controls everything holds the keys to every prison. Do not mistake this path for loneliness. You may stand apart, yes. You may walk above the emotions of others, yes. But in this very detachment lies freedom. For the man who does not feel does not grieve. The man who does not cling does not lose. The man who does not love is never enslaved. Freedom is not in indulgence. Freedom is in mastery. Remember, the masses will always be guided by feeling. They will cheer today, curse tomorrow. They will worship you in triumph and spit upon you in defeat. This is the way of the crowd, but you are not the crowd. You are the hand that guides it, the mind that shapes it, the silence that commands it. Do not join them in their hysteria. Do not descend into their chaos. They are waves. You are the shore. They may crash, they may roar, but you remain unmoved. To feel nothing is to become the axis around which the wheel of the world turns. Others spin, others fall, others rise. You remain, you control, you endure. Power, like fire, must be fed. It consumes fuel, and if you do not supply it, it consumes you. The fuel of power is discipline, control, and fear. The ruler who feels nothing never lets the fire burn him. He directs the flame outward against enemies, against rivals, against disorder. But the moment he lets pity sway him, the flame turns inward and devours his throne. Consider the Roman emperors. Those who ruled with indulgence, who listened to the cries of the people, were devoured by the same mob that once cheered them. Those who ruled with cruelty yet discipline left legacies of centuries. Augustus, who concealed his heart, endured. Marcus Aurelius, who buried his grief beneath duty, endured. But Nero, who indulged in pleasure, perished. Commodus, who sought to be adored, was slaughtered. History is a graveyard of men who felt too much. Look also at Cesare Borgia, a man whom I admired not because he was loved, but because he was feared. He struck without hesitation. He punished betrayal with death, not with tears. He rewarded loyalty only when it served him. He played men like instruments, and when one broke, he cast it aside without regret. Caesar understood that to control everything, you must never allow yourself to be controlled by attachment. He felt nothing. He controlled everything. And what of rulers beyond Italy? Think of Genghis Khan, who united tribes not through affection but through discipline and terror. He felt no pity for those who opposed him. He burned cities, erased dynasties, crushed nations, and yet his empire endured for generations. He did not beg to be loved. He demanded to be obeyed. The world remembers his name not because he was merciful, but because he was inevitable. Even in our own age, those who ascend are not those who weep, but those who control. Men do not respect tears. They respect command. Men do not follow the brokenhearted, they follow the unshakable. Leaders who bend to pity are quickly replaced. Leaders who stand cold and unmovable remain until they themselves decide to leave. The masses may say, but to feel nothing is inhuman. Yes, that is the point. To rule, you must rise above the weaknesses of men. Humanity is the excuse of the weak. They cling to it to explain their failures, to soften their defeats. But if you wish to control everything, you must become more than human. You must become principle itself. Cold, inevitable, timeless. Men die. Empires die, but power remains. And you, if you master yourself, may live through power even after your flesh is gone. What then should be your daily practice? Each day, deny yourself something that weakens you. Do not eat when hunger first calls. Do not speak when anger first rises. Do not indulge when desire first burns. Each denial strengthens your chains of discipline. Each restraint makes you colder, harder, sharper. Soon you will no longer be a man who reacts. You will be a man who decides. And decision, not reaction, is the heart of control. When others panic, you remain still. When others beg, you remain silent. When others rage, you remain calm. They will wonder, does he feel nothing? Yes, and in that question lies your advantage. For the man who feels nothing cannot be manipulated, cannot be provoked, cannot be seduced. Even love, the sweetest poison of all, must be conquered. To love is to give another the keys to your fortress. To love is to hand over the weapon that can destroy you. If you must love, let it be a mask, not a chain. Let it be a role you play, not a prison you inhabit. Let your heart remain untouchable, even as your face pretends warmth. When men approach you, they must feel uncertainty. Do you favor them or do you despise them? Do you trust them or do you doubt them? Do you smile from affection or do you smile from calculation? They must never know. For once they know your heart, they can wound you. But if you feel nothing, if you reveal nothing, then they can never strike true. And when you punish, punish with precision. Do not rage blindly. Rage is weakness. Rage is loss of control. Strike like the surgeon's knife, clean, final, unquestionable. Let the punishment be remembered, but let it never appear as indulgence. It must look inevitable, necessary, impersonal. For when men believe your actions are born not of feeling but of principle, they will obey without question. Control is not noise, control is silence. It is the silence of the ruler who sits while others shout. It is the silence of the master who waits while others hurry. It is the silence of inevitability. And when finally you break that silence, every word is law, every command is iron. So what is the lesson if you are to endure? Kill within yourself the need to be understood. Kill within yourself the craving to be loved. Kill within yourself the hunger for comfort. These are chains. And while men are chained, rulers are free. While men drown in feeling, you will rise in control. In the end, there will be two kinds of men. Those who lived by their hearts and died forgotten, and those who lived by control and wrote history. Ask yourself, which one will you be? Will you be the man who begged for mercy, who longed for affection, who crumbled under betrayal? Or will you be the man who stood unmoved, who commanded obedience, who endured while others perished? The choice is yours, but know this. If you choose the path of power, if you choose the path of command, there can be no turning back. You must bury your heart, seal it in iron, and throw away the key. You must stand where no man dares stand, above emotion, above pity, above humanity. Only then will you achieve it. Only then will you become the one whom nothing can touch, nothing can sway, nothing can move. The one who feels nothing, the one who controls everything, the one who does not merely live in the world but bends the world to his will. The truth is simple. Men are weak because they wish to be weak. They cherish their emotions as treasures, not knowing these treasures are chains. They cling to anger to love, to pity, believing these feelings make them alive. But feelings do not give life. Feelings take life. They exhaust, they blind, they mislead. The man who rules must live by clarity, not by fog. To feel nothing is to see the world as it truly is, bare, sharp, without illusion. Think of the gambler who loses everything. Did he lose because fortune abandoned him? No, he lost because hope blinded him, because desire ruled him. Had he felt nothing, he would have left the table when the odds turned, but he clung to hope, and hope destroyed him. Power is the same. If you cling to hope, if you cling to love, if you cling to trust, you will lose all. Only those who feel nothing step away when the game turns. Only those who feel nothing remain masters of the table. Imagine the general on the battlefield. His soldiers fall. His allies hesitate. His enemies advance. If he lets sorrow grip him, if he lets anger consume him, he makes desperate choices. But if he feels nothing, he sees not the dead but the field. He does not mourn losses. He calculates positions. He does not rage against betrayal. He adapts his strategy. He does not pray for fortune. He becomes fortune itself. That general wins not because he was strongest, but because he was coldest. Now think of the lover. The lover gives his heart, opens his soul, lowers his guard, and in doing so, he gives away his power. The one who loves more becomes the servant, not the master. The lover who feels everything loses everything. But the ruler who wears love as a mask, who pretends affection without drowning in it, uses love as a weapon, not a weakness. He controls through desire, but remains untouched by it. And what of forgiveness? Men praise forgiveness as noble, but forgiveness, when given freely, is permission for weakness to grow. A servant who betrays and is forgiven will betray again. An enemy who strikes and is pardoned will strike again. The man who feels nothing forgives only when it strengthens him, when mercy binds men tighter than punishment would. Forgiveness must never be the gift of the heart. It must always be the calculation of the mind. There is a reason the masses worship those who seem untouchable. They bow to strength even when they hate it. They admire control even when it crushes them. Deep in their hearts, they know they themselves are slaves to feeling. They cannot resist temptation, they cannot endure insult, they cannot survive betrayal, and so they worship the one who can. To feel nothing is to become what they envy and fear most. A man free of chains. Do not fear loneliness on this path. Loneliness is the companion of rulers. Better to stand alone in strength than to stand surrounded in weakness. Better to walk with silence than to walk with flatterers. Better to reign in solitude than to fall in company. Men may call you isolated, but in your isolation lies clarity, and clarity is the root of control. Ask yourself, what is a throne? It is not wood and gold. It is the seat of decision. A throne belongs to the one who cannot be swayed. If you allow affection to move you, the throne belongs not to you, but to those who control your heart. If you allow anger to rule you, the throne belongs not to you, but to those who provoke you. If you allow grief to crush you, the throne belongs not to you, but to fate itself. Only when you feel nothing does the throne become truly yours. To control everything, you must master the art of timing. The impatient act from emotion, the cold act from calculation. A single moment of restraint can win a kingdom. A single moment of impulse can lose it. The one who feels nothing waits while others rush. He advances when the path is clear. He strikes not first, not second, but at the perfect time. Control is not speed. Control is precision. And always remember, men will call you cruel, cold, ruthless. Let them. Their words are weapons of the weak thrown at the strong to soften them. Do not listen. What they call cruelty is survival. What they call ruthlessness is discipline. What they call heartlessness is clarity. Their insults are confessions of their own weakness. Let them cry. Let them curse. You remain unmoved. The world itself feels nothing. The storm has no pity. The winter has no mercy. The plague has no love. Nature rules without emotion, and nature rules forever. Why should you, who seek to master men, act with more weakness than the earth itself? To rule as nature rules, indifferent, inevitable, absolute, this is the model of true power. When history remembers you, it will not ask if you were kind. It will not ask if you were loved. It will ask only if you endured. Were you feared? Did you command? Did you leave behind order or ruin? These are the questions that define rulers. To feel nothing is to write the answers yourself. To control everything is to ensure the answers remain carved in stone. So I say again, bury your heart. Harden your will. Silence your tongue. Starve your weaknesses. Feed only your discipline. Let others live as men. You must live as something greater. You must live as the master of men, the ruler of yourself, the one whom nothing can sway, nothing can wound, nothing can conquer. For in the end there will be only one truth, and he who feels nothing controls everything. And he who controls everything rules forever.